Hello, welcome to Canaveral National Seashore. My name is Ranger Ashley. The seashore is comprised of 24 miles of undeveloped barrier island ecosystem. 3/4 of this seashore is within Mosquito Lagoon right behind me. I stand here at the Seminole Rest historic site. Let's get to learning about Seminole Rest history. The name Canaveral is a Spanish word which is defined as place of cane. It is one of the oldest recorded geographic names in North America, dating back to the arrival of the Spanish explorers. Canaveral is comprised of 24 miles of undeveloped barrier island. It preserves beach, dune, marsh, and lagoon habitats for thousands of species of wildlife, as well as the archaeological record of centuries of human habitation. The coastal shell middens of Florida's Atlantic coast are among the largest shell middens in the United States. The seashore is home to over 100 Timucua shell middens and mounds. Seminole Rest is also known as Snyder Mound. It was named for the Snyder family, which worked to preserve it. In the 1990s, the Snyder family donated the site to the Nature Conservancy, and shortly after it became part of the National Park Service. Seminole Rest tells the story of the Timucua Indians, early pioneer settlements, and the preservation of cultures, with accounts from the writings of early explorers as well as the science of archaeology. We can connect the past to the present. Over 70% of the Timucua Indian mounds were hauled off to build railroads and roadways across Florida. Today, efforts are underway to preserve mounds such as this one. The National Park Service's Southeast Archaeological Center works with scientific partners and volunteers in preservation efforts such as shoreline stabilization and restoration. These efforts conserve the shoreline habitat by slowing the process of erosion. For thousands of years, the Timucua inhabited this part of Florida. The appearance of Europeans in the area destabilized the political balance of the Timucua Nation. This was due to European attempts to establish alliances with the native groups for protection from other nations. Conflict between the European nations and tribal nations grew inflamed. After 200 years of battles of culture, slavery, and disease, the Timucua were decimated. The Seminole Rest Historic Site consists of several prehistoric shell mounds dating as far back as 2000 BCE, or before Common Era. Snyder's Mound is the largest mound at this site at 13 feet high and ranging over 5 acres. Very few mounds of this magnitude remain today. In the 1990s, archaeologists excavated a portion of the mound and discovered a story of migrating people who used the area for fishing, harvesting clams, and hunting. Artifacts such as projectile points, pottery shards, and shell beads for necklaces were found. The mounds consisted of mainly quahog clamshells. It is estimated that over 200,000 Timucua people lived in Florida prior to European exploration. They lived in areas with fresh water and near coastal zones. Seasonally, the Timucua would migrate from inland villages to Seminole Rest. They would harvest clams, then smoke, dry them, and store them for future use. Families could theoretically harvest clams throughout the winter season and feed the entire family. Evidence of high use was between 700 and 1100 CE, or Common Era. Over many seasons, the clam shells accumulated, resulting in the large mound. The Gulf Stream that flows north up the coast of Florida began to see much traffic as European explorers exported goods by boat from the Americas back to Europe, from roughly 1513 through the 1700s. A period of various encounters between the French and the Spanish brought conflict to this area. After Spain regained control from Britain in 1783, development around the seashore slowed until after the Civil War ended, due to its remoteness. The good climate attracted citrus farmers and others, creating small communities such as Oak Hill and Eldora. Plantations, farms, cattle ranches, and homesteads began to appear across the Florida landscape. Seminole Rest was purchased from the U.S. government by John Laud in 1857. By 1880, there were over 900 citrus trees on the property, as well as horses and cattle. During this period, many orange groves perished due to hard winter freezes. 2 homes still stand atop this magnificent shell mound. They were built prior to 1888. The location was a desirable characteristic for people in Florida's low and flat terrain. While the homes may seem intrusive on top of the historic mound, they may have prevented it from being destroyed by mining for railroad and road paving materials. The location of the homes underscores the fact that life along the Mosquito Lagoon has remained appealing throughout the centuries. We hope you enjoyed this virtual tour of Seminole Rest Historic Site. Other sites within the Seashore are Turtle Mound and Castle Windy. For more information, go to the park's website at www.nps.gov/CANA or Facebook and Instagram at Canaveral NATL Seashore.